just goofing around. Nothing here is a test before we even get into any of that kind of talk. I had both of these knives. I really like K390's wear resistance. I've always been a fan of M4. That actually was the first tool steel, high speed tool steel, carbon steel, however you want to call it, that I had. It was a Gale Bradley. And since I had both, I wanted to put them kind of side by side. I sharpened them both on the Veneve 240, then the 400, didn't strop either one. In sharpening, I noticed that this seemed to sharpen a little bit more quickly. I used very, very light pressure, much lighter than usual. I also took it back old school, and you can kind of see there, I used a little bit of black Sharpie just to line me up. You can see how good or bad my edge is right there. Using very light pressure. And like I said, this is a 400 grit Veneve resin bonded edge. Using the very light pressure, there was a burr that formed. It did come up, and it was more apparent than the burr on the K390. And I sharpen these one after the other, by the way. And again, not a test, just goofing off. I feel like it's stickier, more aggressive, toothier than the K390. You can kind of see here, it curled the paper. It was able to kind of grab that paper a little bit more and cut a little bit more finely. Whereas here on the K390, it pretty much just wanted to slice straight through. This edge also feels like, oh, and I'll show you guys this edge as well. And yeah, the knife is nasty as I don't know what. I don't have anything to clean it right now. Again, you can see I used black Sharpie. No, I'm not perfect, never claimed to be, so I haven't gotten it all off. But you can see the edge there. And this, it feels stickier, but it feels more acute. It feels more fine, which I may be saying the same thing two different ways. Whereas this one here, it has that kind of a stick to it, but it feels a little rougher. It feels a little, like I said, it feels like it has a little more toothiness to it. This is the only paper towel I have, so I did not try to cut it because you really can't cut this and do it justice. It's too flimsy, as you can see. You need something with a little bit of body, at least for my level of sharpening, because I'm sure somebody will come on and say, well, I could cut air with my knife. Okay, you got it. For me and where I'm at with my sharpening, this is a little finer. If you want to cut this free hanging, it just kind of collapses. And like I said, you can see kind of how soft this is. So yeah, this one had a little bit of it had a smaller burr. It took a little bit longer to sharpen, and by longer I mean maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You know, it took a little bit more work. This knife also has been sharpened more times, so, you know, factor that in. And yes, it also has this tape residue all over it. I don't have any gasoline or kerosene or WD-40 or anything to get it off, so I have to wait to get that taken off. And like I said, this one sharpened up a little bit more quickly. Like I said, maybe 2-3 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. And it had a larger burr, and it does feel more aggressive, which is what I like about the M4. It feels more aggressive. It bites in a little bit more. So yeah, and like I said, not a test, just goofing off.